We don't want to allow you to fuck over us no more, Abraham Traore. He's a global terrorist. That nigga ain't never been outside his country, but he's a global terrorist. That nigga ain't never stepped foot outside his country, but he a global terrorist, nigga? How is that possible? They military don't have any goddamn weapons that could travel. All they got is guns. They ain't got no drones. They ain't got no planes like that, no war planes, but they are a threat globally. But you ain't got nothing to attack, nothing on the globe. So tell me, how are they a threat globally if they don't have anything to do anything to anybody outside their own country? So y'all telling me something, but am I smart enough to realize what the fuck you telling me?
Right.
Oh, he is a global terrorist because they natural resources will fuck up the globe if the nigga don't continue to allow y'all to fuck over him. Y'all terrified globally that if this nigga
don't share what he's...
That's what it is. Y'all terrified. The nigga is a global terrorist. He got all the entire globe shook up because now if we allow this nigga to do this, the country next door gonna realize. And then the country next door to them and the country on top of them and the country over there. Oh, that's why he's a terrorist, because this nigga can possibly wake up an entire continent that y'all been relying on for centuries, that y'all say is a poor fucking country, a poor continent, a poor nations of people. But y'all entire existence relies on it.
Especially in Burkina Faso with this guy Traore. People are talking about him like he's some kind of hero, but let me tell you, he's pushing his country down a very dangerous path. Very dangerous. He kicked out France, he's cozying up to Russia, maybe even China, and he says it's about sovereignty. But what I see is a man making deals that could turn Burkina Faso into a playground for America's enemies. We can't ignore that. The United States has invested billions of dollars into Africa over decades, trying to bring stability, security, and opportunity. And now you've got a leader who thinks he can throw it all away with one speech. They call it independence. I call it reckless. People are cheering for him because he talks tough, but talking tough doesn't build jobs, it doesn't create security, and it doesn't...
Mr. Donald Trump, former President of the United States, you have spoken of me as reckless, as dangerous, as a young man who does not understand the world. You say I am pushing Burkina Faso toward Russia, toward China, toward isolation. You say America has invested billions in Africa, and that without America, without NATO, without the so-called leadership of the West, Africa cannot survive. But let me ask you this. If America has invested billions in Africa, why are our people still poor? Why are our farmers still struggling to feed their children? Why do our young men and women risk their lives crossing deserts and oceans, searching for dignity outside their own land? If billions have truly come, then those billions have not been for Africa. They have been for corporations, for military contractors, for foreign interests. They have not fed the African child. They have not built the African school. They have not healed the African patient. They have not liberated the African mind. You call me reckless for expelling France, for rejecting foreign troops who have sat on our soil for decades. But tell me, Mr. Trump, what has their presidents brought us? Did the French bases bring security? Did the American drones bring peace? For over 60 years, foreign soldiers have been here in Africa promising protection. And yet terrorism has grown, insecurity has spread, lives have been destroyed. If this is your version of stability, then we do not want it. You say America first means keeping the world safe. But safe for whom? Safe for the corporations that drain our gold, our uranium, our oil? Safe for the armies that walk through our countries without visas, without passports, immune to our laws? Safe for the powerful in Washington while the powerless in Ouagadougou suffer? That is not safety, Mr. Trump. That is domination disguised as partnership. Let us speak truth. You accuse me of being close to Russia. You accuse me of looking to China. But who gave you the right to decide who Africa can speak to? Who gave America the authority to say that if Africa chooses its own friends, it is dangerous? You, Mr. Trump, say America first. You boast about it. You campaign on it. You built your whole brand on it. So why should Africa not say Africa first? Why should Burkina Faso not say Burkina Faso first? Why do you demand for your people what you deny for ours? This is the arrogance of empire. This is the hypocrisy of those who claim freedom for themselves but impose chains on others. You call me young. Yes, I am young. But perhaps it is time the old order of exploitation hears the voice of the youth. For 60 years, Africa has been told to wait for development, to wait for investment, to wait for respect. We are tired of waiting. The youth of Africa will no longer kneel. We will no longer beg. We will no longer ask permission to be free. You speak of terrorism, Mr. Trump. You say that without America, Africa cannot defeat it. But let me remind you, terrorism did not grow in Africa because Africans invited it. It grew because of wars imposed on us, because of chaos spread in Libya, because of weapons that flowed from NATO's adventures, because of policies written in Washington and Paris. You destabilized our region, and now you say you are the solution. This is like the arsonist calling himself the firefighter. In Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, we have chosen a different path. We have formed the Alliance of Sahel States, not as puppets of Moscow, not as colonies of Paris, not as dependents of Washington, but as sovereign nations who will defend ourselves. We know our land, we know our people. We know how to distinguish a terrorist from a farmer, a criminal from a villager. Your drones cannot, your satellites cannot. You bomb from the sky, and innocent lives are lost. We fight on the ground, shoulder to shoulder with our people, and we will win. You say I am isolating Burkina Faso from progress, but what is progress if it comes at the cost of sovereignty? We do not need lectures from America about progress. Progress is not skyscrapers in New York while villages in Africa starve. Progress is not billion-dollar corporations mining our gold while our miners die in darkness. Progress is freedom. Progress is dignity. Progress is when the child of Africa can dream without chains. Mr. Trump, you said I am fiery, and you are right. I am fiery because my people burn with hunger for justice. I am fiery because my nation is tired of lies. I am fiery because Africa has been silent too long. We were told independence had come, but our banks were still controlled in Paris. We were told we were free, but our armies were trained to obey foreign generals. We were told we were partners, but we were treated as children. The fire you see is not recklessness. It is the fire of liberation, the fire of a continent that will no longer bow. You say America will not stand by while chaos spreads, but I tell you this. America has stood by while Africa bled. America has stood by while dictators were armed, while resources were stolen, while children died of preventable diseases, and worse. America has not only stood by, America has profited. So do not speak to me of chaos, Mr. Trump. Speak to me of justice. Speak to me of equality. Speak to me of respect. We are not against America. We are against domination. We are not against the West. We are against exploitation. We are not against cooperation. We are against dependency. We are not against friendship. We are against slavery in all its forms. Mr. Trump, you said without America, Africa cannot stand. But look at Burkina Faso today. France has left. NATO has gone. And yet we still stand. The sky did not fall. The earth did not collapse. In fact, we are stronger than before. Because for the first time in decades, we stand on our own feet. And to you, Mr. Trump, let me say this directly. You may speak of America first, but we will live Africa first. You may claim to make America great again, but we will make Africa free again. You may call me reckless, but history will call me courageous. And history, not propaganda, will judge us both. So hear me well. The age of domination is over. The age of Africanity has begun. We will not kneel. We will not beg. We will not bow. We will fight. We will rise. We will win, because we are the children of this land, and this land is ours. Africa first, forever.
Officers shouted, "Gone!" In less than 5 seconds, they unleashed 41 bullets. 19 tore into his body. He collapsed right there in the doorway of his own home. His name was Amadou Diallo. Just 23 years old, he wasn't holding a gun. He wasn't threatening anyone. All he had in his hand was his wallet. It was February 1999. Diallo had moved from Guinea to New York to chase opportunity. He worked long hours as a street vendor. He saved what he could, lived small and quietly in the Bronx. That night, 4 plainclothes officers from the NYPD street crime unit, they rolled up and they thought he looked like a suspect in a case. When he stepped back towards his doorway and reached into his pocket to show them his ID card. One officer shouted, "Gone!" The others opened fire. 41 shots at an unarmed man outside his own home. When this case went to trial, the officers said that they thought that their lives were in danger. The trial was even moved to Albany because of all the publicity. In the end, all 4 were acquitted. Nobody went to prison for killing Amadou. No justice. The killing, it shook not just New York, but the whole world. Bruce Springsteen, he wrote a song called American Skin, 41 shots. Even Wyclef's song is quite popular, called Diallo. It was written in his memory. His name became more than just a case. It became a symbol. And you'd think something that outrageous happening would force change, right? It did not. 2006, New York again. Sean Bell. The night before his wedding, police fired 50 bullets into his car. He never made it to the altar. 2014, Eric Garner held in a banned chokehold on the sidewalk, gasping, "I can't breathe," 11 times before his body went limp. Later that same year, Tamir Rice, just 12 years old, playing in a park with a toy gun. Police pulled up and shot him within 2 seconds of arriving. Michael Brown in Ferguson, shot at 18 years old, left in the street for hours. His death sparked nights of protest and it drew national attention to police militarization. 2020, Breonna Taylor killed in her own apartment during a no-knock raid. And then George Floyd, a knee pressed on his neck for more than 9 minutes while he begged, "I can't breathe." That video went viral. It didn't just stay in Minneapolis, it went everywhere. Protests erupted in all 50 states and across the globe, London, Paris, Lagos. Millions of people chanting the same words that Eric Garner had said years before this, "I can't breathe." It became the largest protest movement in modern American history, George Floyd. But even after that, the killings did not stop. Sonia Massey, July 2024, she called 911 because she thought someone was trying to break into her house. When the deputies arrived, she was unarmed. She was holding a pot of water. One of them shot her in the face. He said that he thought that she was going to attack them with the water. Jesus Uribe Corona, March 2025, he was throwing rocks at cars. Dangerous, yes, but he was unarmed. Police still shot him dead. I could go on and on. Actually, do you know what? I'll name a few more. Philando Castile, 2016, pulled over during a traffic stop, shot as his girlfriend live streamed the entire thing. Alton Sterling, 2016, pinned to the ground, shot at point blank range. Stephen Clark, 2018, in his grandmother's backyard holding a cell phone. Police said that they thought it was a gun. Should I stop? No, I've got more. Sandra Bland, 2015, arrested for a minor traffic stop. 3 days later, she was found dead in her jail cell. Laquan McDonald, 2014, 17 years old, shot 16 times while walking away. Walter Scott, 2015, shot in the back as he ran from a traffic stop. The officer even tried to plant his taser beside the body, but the whole thing was caught on video. And the list still is not done. This is just a fraction. From Amadou Diallo in 1999 to Sonia Massey in 2024, one thing is clear. These killings are not random. They are disproportionately people of color. Black Americans they're nearly 3 times more likely to be killed by the police than white Americans. Even when they are unarmed, different names, different cities, same stories, family grieving, protests in the streets, and a justice system that rarely holds anybody accountable. But the question isn't whether we remember Amadou or Floyd or Breonna or Sonia. The question is, how many more names do we have to say or chant in the streets before anything actually changes? This month, October, is Black History Month in the UK, and this story is dedicated to Black. Thank you for watching this story.
But everyone has a different story to tell.
Tell the story.
Shell, which says it's losing it.
The Tampa market.
In Northeast Africa, precisely on the horn of Africa.
But the local party.
All right, folks, once again, good afternoon. This is Frank. I am your Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture Series educator, right? Every Sunday. No, sorry, not every Sunday, Saturday, all right? But the reason why we are on today, Sunday, is because And Kimba and Natasha are not yet back. They are busy doing other stuff. Usually we have changed from Sunday to Saturday. But however, we are going to be reporting sometime on Saturday and sometime on Sunday. So if you didn't see me on Saturday, you're going to see me on Sunday. Until Kimba or Natasha can come back, I'm going to be, sometime I will report on Sunday, sometime report on Saturday. So if you don't see me Saturday, you're going to see me here Sunday. Now, let me fall back again a little bit. I know we've been out for a couple of weeks, right? It was based on my schedule. Nothing happened. Nothing happened to me. I'm good, right? We are good. Okay. So it was based on my schedule. I've been kind of busy behind the scene, taking care of other business. And then last week or last 2 weeks, we were supposed to be here, but I was also in Maryland because, again, I'm also involved into the local politics of Liberia, right? So we had our chapter conference, that is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. It's called a DMV. So that was on the 25th of October. So I left from here on the 24th, went to DC, slept there Saturday, and then Sunday night I came back, so we couldn't report. So in our conference, I was also elected as a Secretary General for the chapter for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So that is why, and, but again, I'm back. We are back. So, having said that, today's discussion, it says, Liberia government officials celebrate. Now, let me say this first. Let me say this before we go on, okay? Let me say this. Disclaimer. If you, as a Liberian, you are currently watching, and in your mind you feel you are patriot, but you are not. Realistically, you are a partisan of the Unity Party. This discussion will not fit you, because you are not going to hear what you want to hear. Let me repeat, you are not going to hear what you want to hear, especially if you are solely politically based. That is, you chose political party over the interest of the nation, over the interest of the 5 million people plus, or 5 million plus people. If you are in such category, please leave. Because this discussion today is not for you. Leave. Disclaimer. I told you. If you want to stay, stay at your own risk. Now, it says Liberia government officials dances to US B1, B2 visa. 3 years entry. 3 years entry. US to deport. The alleged notorious US criminal to Liberia. Now, the reason why I added US to deport, United States US criminal to Liberia, or notorious criminals to Liberia, there's a reason. Now, folks, let me explain this first. This is WCC, all right? If we don't have the full information, we prefer not to report or not to talk about it. Because this is a platform, we are not opinionative, or we don't report on opinion. And that is why we always say this. This is not a platform that you think you will come, you hear something because it sounds sweet. No. This is not a platform. We don't have time for that. We move. Like Nkrumah said, backward never, forward ever. That's how this platform is. It's solely a Pan-Africanist platform. Now, Having said that, today is actually Liberia, right? Maybe if I still have time, we're going to talk about Nigeria down the line on something that is about to happen in Nigeria. Now, there's a news that have come out about the so-called visa issues in Liberia. And we see so many journalists, Liberian journalists. We see so many reporters, Liberian reporters, whether in Liberia or out of Liberia. We have this internet that we need to put this internet to use for our benefit. But most of us wouldn't do it. We put this internet to use for our own demise. Let me repeat. We put this internet to use at our own demise, for our own demise. In many cases, because maybe we have been bought, or maybe we are receiving crumbs, or maybe we chose not to just report on a reality or to find the reality because we don't care. Maybe. Or maybe we just run away with information just because we got it from someone instead of us, ourselves, yourself, going to find out why. You know, one thing I have noticed about we Africans in general, Black people as a whole, we never ever asked the why question, why? And in everything to life, there is always why. If there is no why to life, then you are not worth living. If there is no why to life, you are not worth living. If there is no reason for something, then shut up and don't talk about it. If there is no reason, if there is no why, if there is no for whom, then shut up. Don't talk about it. Because you'll be misleading the masses. You'll be misleading the others who don't have the opportunity like you to find the information. But they rely on you for information that you will give them. They rely on you for information that you will give them. And in life, if someone relies or depends on you, you know what I mean? You are the source of that person's survival. Not just feeding or with food. Not just feeding or with food. Whenever anyone relies or depends on you for anything of such, you are the sole survivor of that person. What you give to that person is what that person will go with. So whenever someone relied or depend on you, you have to hold yourself responsible for the failure of that person. You have to hold yourself responsible for the failure of that person, whosoever come along with that person, because that person has people who also depend on him or her, as that person depend on you for the information you pass on to him or to her. Henceforth, it affects an entire community. Henceforth, it affects an entire nation. What you put out there, because people depend on you. That is a case of Liberia, folks. Now, recently, there have been some so-called visa issue in Liberia. And people are jubilating. People are rejoicing. People are so excited. Excited on nothing that they have idea. You cannot be excited on something that you have no idea on how it's going to play out. How in the first place it came about. And people are saying, oh, America gave extend from 1 year visa to 2 year visa, not understanding the implication, not understanding the disastrous foundation of this visa issue. And according to people, according to many, according to most, and according to few, it's a milestone for Liberia and U.S. relationship. But did you do research to understand that milestone or that relationship? Did you? We have always said this, and we are going to say it. There is no diplomatic relationship between the U.S. and Liberia. I repeat, unless you don't know your history, unless you do not know or understand your history, folks, this so-called B1, B2 visa, it also have a historical understanding behind it. You may not understand because you don't have third eye to see. And that third eye, it doesn't mean you have spiritual eye, because you don't understand the fundamental history, the foundational history between the United States and Liberia. There is nothing diplomatic. Let me tell you now. There is nothing diplomatic about Liberia and the United States. The United States work in her interest. How can you have a diplomatic relationship with a nation that does not care about your interests? Can we define what diplomatic relationship is? We need to explain this. Can we explain it? There is nothing diplomatic between the U.S. and Liberia because the United States cares for herself, her citizen, her interest, her policy. It's a one-way street between the U.S. and Liberia. It's a one-way street. It's not a two-way street. I blame the media of Liberia because most of them are being bought because that's how they find their daily bread. So they report based on what government tell them to report on. But on the other hand, they will come out to say, we are independent media. But there is nothing in their report that showed a sense of independence. Most of them, not all. There are few there. And those few, the government run after them. One of them now call themselves or herself Africa page or African page or whatsoever. Another bias. Folks, we are about to get into it. Please, I know I'm taking much of your time. Some of you, especially if you are watching from Liberia, you use data. But this is very, very troubling. What I'm about to show you today, there is nothing diplomatic between the U.S. and Liberia in this visa issue. I repeat myself. When it comes to the United States, let me tell you this, you so-called Liberian, who don't understand the policy of the U.S., who don't understand how Washington, D.C. operates. Washington, D.C. does not have a friend. Washington, D.C. never have a friend. Because you know what Washington believe in? A friend can betray you. A friend can betray you. If another friend of that your friend come with more what Washington DC cannot give you, you will accept that and betray Washington DC. They understand that. Washington DC does not have a friend. What Washington DC have is her policy. What Washington DC have is her interest. Those are the two things Washington DC have. Her policy and her interest. Outside of that, Washington DC does not have a friend. And Washington DC does not care about diplomatic policy. Oh yes, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here today. This is WCC. What else? Everything we speak here, we already finished doing the research. We already know what we talk about here. If we don't have enough information, we don't speak about it. We don't come with opinion. Because guess what? Everything we speak here, the day Washington, D.C. want to challenge, we bring the evidence to them. So that's why even before they come, we already present the evidence in the recording with articles and videos. I repeat, Washington, D.C. does not have a friend. Washington, D.C. does not believe in diplomatic relationship. What Washington, D.C. believes in is her policy and her interest. That is why she always relied on key things, her foreign policy. Those are the two friends Washington, D.C. have. Those are the two people Washington, D.C. know her policy and her interest. Those are the two people, and those are the two nations on earth. If policy and interest are people, if policy and interest are nation, those are Washington, D.C. two friends. So don't get it twisted. And be happy, acting, behaving like a slave. Now, I'm going to take a bit. Let's look at the first article. The first article, there's a reason I'm bringing the first article. All right? There's a reason. The reason why I'm bringing the first article, most Liberians had the opportunity to read our first article because it is a Liberian-owned media institution. This is WCC. We balance the equation. Before we speak on topic, we already asked the why question, the reason, the what if. Everything you ask in a research paper. Your research, I don't know how you do your research, but you will never have a quantitative or a qualitative research if you don't have those three things or four. The why. First of all, why are you doing that research? Why are you doing the research? Why? In whose interest? Whose interest? For whom? What if? Because in your hypothesis, these things, these questions supposed to appear. And then in your conclusion of your research, the why, the if, the what reason, for whom, is supposed to appear in your conclusion in your research. So we have asked all those questions, and that's how we were able to find the information that many of you will not get. But I'm glad many of you, some of you, few of you are watching and will sit and watch and say, listen, regardless what, this is my political party in power. Let me listen to something here. Let me listen to knowledge. Let me listen to wisdom. So that's why I brought the first article. Because the first article, almost all Liberians have the opportunity to see it. So I brought that. So you can say, I cheated you, or I'm biased, or I'm not being fair. Because that's how most Liberians behave. Once they feel that the topic is not in their interest, even they know you are speaking the truth, they will say you are biased. They will say you are not speaking the truth. Most Liberians, most of us, most African. And that's a slave mentality. So let's see the first article here, to be fair. And then after that, I have two articles to bring to you. This B1, B2 visa is a bullshit. I don't want to say BS. Let me say it here. It's a bullshit. It's nonsense. Let me tell you something. The reason why that B1, B2 visa, it was never discussed diplomatically. Never. Everyone, because maybe I want you to explain to me what diploma is. What do you call diplomatic agreement? What do you call diplomatic relationship? Tell me now. Because what I'm about to explain here today, there is nothing diplomatic, because I don't understand what diploma is. How can I be doing a relationship with the US and we're talking about diploma? But in our diplomacy, my nation, my people are a threat. But not the United States. You call that diploma? How can I be establishing a relationship, an agreement with another nation, but my nation will be affected? My nation will not be safe. My nation will not even seem to benefit from it. You call that diplomat? You are not fit to be a leader in that case. Because if the United States come first, Liberia should come first. The life of the United States citizens are not better in any way than the life of the Liberian people. No life is better. If the life of the United States people are better, worth living in every way, the life of the Liberian people are also better living, worth in every way. You sit down, you call a whole nation, Liberia, saying Liberia is a stepchild to America. That's why you are always being treated like a stepchild. Slave mentality again. You look at your nation and you say you are independent. You call your nation, refer to your nation as a stepchild to another nation. And then when that nation treats you like a stepchild, exactly that's what a B1, B2 vaccine is. They're running around here with 3 years visa when nations are getting 5 years. Do you see those nations that are getting the 5 years? The same time they was giving us so-called 3-year visa entry to Liberia, they were giving it to Ghana for 5 years. And then you want to talk about Liberia and the US have more relationship in Africa than any other person? Oh, the English, the British colonized Ghana, not the US. Ghana was a colony to the British, while Liberia was a colony to the America. Oh, but Ghana is getting 5 years visa entry, and Liberia is getting 3. Stature. And now, folks, the 5 years that Ghana received in about the same time that they gave the 3 years to Liberia. The circumstances to which, or in which, or under which Liberia got the 3 years is not as the same circumstances to which Ghana received the 5 years. Listen, folks, this is WCC. You will never regret coming on this platform. You will never regret subscribing to this platform, and you will never regret liking this platform. The benefit is you will learn and understand the happening. Ghana did not receive a notorious U.S. criminal. Ghana did not agree, but Ghana got 5 years. Folks, the visa, the 3-year visa that Liberia got, it was nothing about the Liberian government and the United States government went and sat down on the table to discuss what better for Liberia. No, it was never an agreement. It was given to Liberia because the United States told Liberia, you must take this criminal. That Ghana had refused. Do you know that? Let's continue here. Let's continue because time is going. I got to bring out this article. Let's continue. There was nothing diplomatic. It's just like you visited me. Right? You paid a visit to me, to my house. And I said to you, listen, I got a few bag of rice in my corner there. I know your people are hungry. Your people don't have food. And I know you don't have connection. You don't have the means. And your people are starving. But listen to me. I have 3 rapists. I want to get them out of my house, for example. And in getting that out of my house, if you get them out, you agree to host them in your house. If you agree to host them in your house, I will give you 10 bags of rice. Now, those 10 bags of rice, whether you divide it equally for your people or you give it to few people, it's up to you. But that's it. That is not an agreement. That is not, a diplomatic agreement. Because as far as I'm concerned, diplomatic relationship is coordinating both nation interests. Your interest, right? Your interest should not be an issue for my people. And my interest should not be an issue for your nation and people. Let's read the first article from Liberia. Let's read the first article from Liberia. Now, the first article is a Daily Observer. This is a Liberian newspaper. All right. Now, I may not read all, but I want you to get the hook of what we are going to discuss here today. All right. I may not read all, or I may read all. I may just read it and go through it so you can see, because I don't want to waste my time on it. The 2 articles that I want to discuss, they are there, and you will see the reality. Now, look here. It says, Liberia, U.S. visa breakthrough is a milestone. It's a milestone, not a free pass. Listen to that. You see, most of you Africans, most of you Liberian, you read, but you don't pay attention. You read, but you don't pay attention. You read, you don't comprehend. Once you see milestone, then you that's it. Once you read Liberia U.S. visa breakthrough is a milestone. That's it. You roll it, you dance with it, you party, you drink. That's it. But the next thing to it says not a free pass. Now, not a free pass. That's what I want you listening to. Forget about Liberia U.S. visa breakthrough as a milestone. Forget about that. What I want you to focus or to pay attention at is not a free pass. Now, I want you to ask a question. If it is not a free pass, then what is about this visa? That's how you began to understand before reading. Sometimes you read a headline. The headline will discuss what is in that paper or will discuss about that stuff. Now, from that headline, you can ask the question. And once you ask those questions, as you read, you will find the answer. What is about this visa that is not a pass? Who is going to benefit? And why did this visa issue come about? Because even the 1 year visa that we had, it was difficult to come. Do you know that Liberia was one of the, or it is one of the nations in Africa that is heavily denied visa entry to the U.S.? 1 year. 1 year, you are among the 10 nations in Africa being denied. 1 year, you have 1 year visa entry. But among 10 nations in Africa, you are among the 10 nations in Africa to be denied entry in the U.S. Then they gave you 3 years. And then you happy? Why don't you ask question? Well, let's read. Let's read. Let's read. If I can just discuss about Liberia today, and maybe next time we'll catch up with Nigeria, because something is about to happen in Nigeria. And if we don't discuss it to bring it to light, Nigeria might be the base. Nigeria may be the base for foreign terrorist activities to go against the Sahel nation. Nigeria might be the base. And now they are pushing the narrative, but people are not listening. We black people, African people, we are quick to forget. Washington, D.C. sat down and lied to you that they were going to free the Libyan. They were going to give democracy to Libya. You sat down there, they destroyed Libya, killed Gaddafi. And today, look at Libya. Look at Libya today. And we are not even paying attention to these things. And then the U.S. is now coming with a narrative again. Washington, D.C. is coming with a narrative. And most Africans, dumb and stupid, are going with those narratives. But they are not asking Washington, D.C. Listen, we don't trust you. Where are the freedom and the peace and the democracy you promised for Libya? Where is the heaven? Why are you not fighting for the Libyan people? They are not asking those questions. We quick to forget. But when the United States have established her base in there, and then destroying the Sahel region, It will be late. Then that's the time we'll come out and say, oh, United States, oh, blah, 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 blah. When it ever happened, I will be on the side of the United States. When it ever happened, I will be on the side of the United States. Because you guys are quick to forget. You guys are quick to forget. But that is not the topic today. If we have time, we will get to it. If not, we'll save it for next week. But let's continue with this article here. The recent announcement that the United States will extend B1, B2 visa US B1, B2 visa validated for Liberian traveler from 12, that is 1 year, right? From 12 months to 36 months, 3 years, is without question a diplomatic milestone. Now, Liberia will read this. Bam, they happy with it. They think having finished open, it calm down. But they are not even paying attention what is going on with RCE, with immigration. Hey God. Let's continue here. I don't want to take long on this, but I have 2 articles. I brought this because Liberian people finish read this, and they are so happy that their slave master coming for them. But I read, it represents the fruit. Listen to this. There's a reason, like I said, I brought this. Because some of you that have finished reading this, you think heaven have come. Right? Let's read. It represents the fruit of sustained engagement between Liberia and the U.S. government. It represents the fruit of sustained engagement between the U.S. or between Liberia and the United States government. Very good, bravo. Let's continue. Led in this instance by President Joseph Yman Boakai and Foreign Minister Sarah Nyanti, and suggest a renewed level of confidence in Liberian governance trajectory, but let there be no illusion. Let there be no illusion. This is not a blank check. Now, the writer of this have said in government, right? This person saying this person has said in government, so they know when it comes to the U.S. But let me read this. Earlier on, I said to you, the United States does not have a friend. Earlier on, I said to you, the United States does not believe in what they call diplomacy. What I said to you was, the United States have 2 things: her policy and her interest. That's it. If not because of that, if not her policy, her interest, nation in Africa wouldn't be having sanction. Nation in Africa, leader will not be in any issue with the U.S. But the reason why the United States sanction and go against nation in Africa or other nation is because those people do not agree to the U.S. foreign policy. Those people do not agree to the U.S. interest. That is why the U.S. does not have friends. When it comes to that, the U.S. does not believe in diplomacy. The U.S. bring her interest. The U.S. bring her policy. If you don't agree, the U.S. come after you. They put sanction on you. They come after you. They run propaganda and remove your government. Or they send in Washington, D.C., write some kind of so-called letter and ask for your removal or say resign. Listen, folks, if you don't understand Washington, D.C., now You will be so delusional to come and say that U.S. having a diplomatic relationship between this country, between Liberia and this, between. That's a bullshit. The U.S. does not believe in that. The U.S. believes in her policy, her foreign policy, her interests. Those are the two things. If they were human beings, those are the two friends of the U.S. I'm telling you this. The United States never do things because of diplomacy, because of your interest. If it is not in line of her interest, she does not care about your interest. She does not care. Am I angry with that? Absolutely no. I don't. If you as a nation, you don't have a policy for your people, that's your damn business. If you as a nation, you don't have interest in your people and your nation, that's your damn business. I will never ever blame the United States for that. That's the game. That's the game. That's how she survived. That's how she see life to be. How do you see life to be? What is your policy and what is your interest? Let's continue here. Like the reader said, but let there be no illusion. This is not a blank check. Don't be delusional and don't be hallucinating and dancing all around like the foreign minister. Don't be hallucinating, dancing all around. This is not a blank check or free pass. Let's read. I may not read all, but I want you to see something before we go to the two articles that I have for you. Some of you that did not have the time to research to find. Let's read. Or some of you that read this, but did not understand, did not comprehend, did not understand, like know how to break it down because you never asked those questions. Why? For whom? In who interest? And some of you read, but you don't understand how the U.S. operate. And I don't blame you for that. And some of you know how the U.S. operate, but chose not to educate your people properly. I blame you for that. Let's read. It is a test. Listen to this. It is a test in how Liberia respond to this news. This new window of opportunity will determine whether the door stay open or slam shut once again. Listen to this. Hello. There's a reason I brought this article. Like I said, most Liberians will read this because it is a local newspaper. But they do not understand. They do not understand what this rhetoric is trying to convey in this article. Listen to this. I told you the U.S. does not have a friends. The U.S. does not believe in diplomacy. The U.S. does not believe in global, how they call it? They call what they think? Global village or global this. The U.S. don't believe in it. And exactly that is what this rhetoric is saying here. Listen to this. It is a test. Listen to this. It is a test. And how Liberia respond to this new window of opportunity will determine whether the door stay open or slam shut once again. Didn't I tell you? If the United States bring her policy, bring her interest to you, and you don't take it, they put sanction on you. That's a door that is being closed. They run propaganda against you. Your people go against you. Your people hate you. That is the door that has been slammed. But if you agree, like how this current government have agreed to put our nation in chaos, the interests of our people in chaos, for the U.S., the door will remain open. Now the question then is this. Do you want a door that is open, but detriment to your survival, or you want a door that is closed. But that door that is closed will strengthen you to find different door that will listen to you, that will be willing to work with you, that will not slam a door when you tell them, say, no, this is not in Liberian interest. Let's move forward. If you don't understand, that's your damn business. If you understand, that's your damn business. But let's move. From the vantage point of a former U.S. consular officer. Now, I told you, this person that is explaining these things work in the government. So they understand how the U.S. operate. I told you folks, the United States does not believe in that thing you call diplomacy. They don't believe in it. When the United States believe in her interest, the United States operate based on interest. The United States is an interest-based nation. It's an interest-based, how they call it, government run. Let's read. From the vantage point of a former U.S. consular officer, the decision to extend visa validated is not taken lightly. It comes on it. Listen to this word. These are words that you need to pay attention to. O-N-L, when you're reading, read with understanding or with clarity. Because these are things that answer your question when you're doing research. Of question that you have asked, why, whom, for what, all these things. But let's read. It comes only after rigorous internal review and input from Homeland Security, Consular Affairs, and Foreign Policy desks. Listen to this. Is that a diplomatic relationship or talk? Une. It came une. That is one side from the U.S. But let's read. That. What is that? That. Listen to this. That. You see, that. This is actually an order. This is actually a command. There is nothing diplomatic in here, folks. Like I said, I brought this article, right? Because this is an article that is local in Liberia. And most Liberians read it. But most Liberians does not have the gust of comprehension or to break it down. They don't have that understanding or that clarity to break it down. They don't. It comes only after rigorous internal review and input from Homeland Security. Not Liberia Security. Homeland Security, the U.S. Consular Affairs, and Foreign Policy desk. I told you, like America have two things. Her policy and her interest. These are the two key things that have played in the so-called U.S. visa, B1, B2 visa Liberia. I told you people. America don't have friends. They don't believe in that bullshit. They don't believe in that bullshit of a diplomatic relationship. They don't. So this is a command. There was no two-way street. It's a one-way street. It comes only after rigorous internal reviews and input from Homeland Security, Consular Affairs, and Foreign Policy desks. Foreign Policy desks. Foreign Policy desks. That, listen to this now, that the United States has seen fit to grant this expansion despite Liberia. Despite, oh God. You see, English is not some of our language. We learn it, but we learn it to apply it. So how can there be a discussion that was between the US and Liberia? First, there was no discussion here. And I have 2 articles to prove to you that there was no discussion here. There was no discussion. Now, there's a reason I brought this Liberia newspaper. Before bringing the 2 articles, I could have disregarded this and then go to the 2 articles that I have. But again, you are never ever going to understand. You are going to think Liberia and the US went and sat down and talked about, you know what, America, this is Liberia interest. We want to do this and thing. There was nothing that discussed. Nothing. Now, some of you have access to the newspaper in Liberia, and I'm breaking it down to you, and you saying it. The Liberian government and the United States government did not sit down and discuss anything. Why the Liberian government say this will be in our interest, this will not be in our interest. This was one-way street commanding Liberia. And again, let me tell you this. This go back to 1822. I know some of you may say, what does this B1, B2 vaccine have to do with 1822? Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry, right? Like I said, if you don't know your history, like Michael Gov't said, one who does not know his or her history is like a tree standing by the bank of the river with no trunk and struggling to survive, struggling for water. You know what that means? Lack of knowledge. That tree does not know that water is you can survive for it. So lack of knowledge to understand that there's a river down there. So somebody may say, what does the B1, B2 vaccine have to do with 1822? Hey, history is very good though. History is good though. That's a good question. If anybody asks that question, it's a very, very brilliant and great question. But the only thing I will say to you is, if you ask that question, it's because you do not understand your history. You do not understand that nation called Liberia. When it comes to the US, you don't understand. But today, you will try to understand some. Let's read here. Let's read. Now, let me read this. I'm going to take this article out. But at least you understand. Let me just read this part and I will take it. I will go to the next article now that I have, right? But at least you understand something here, right? That this was a one-way street. It was never a discussion where the US government sat down, the Liberian government sat down and tried to talk things out. What in the best interest of Liberia and what in the best interest of America. There was nothing like that discussed. But let's read here. Let me read this one line and then we move this article and go to the next article. It comes only after rigorous internal review and input from Homeland Security. They did not say it came after vigorous internal review and input from Homeland Security and the Liberian government or the Liberian Homeland Security. No. Or even the Liberian ambassador or the Liberian ambassador in Washington, D.C. No. Hey, folks. Hey, folks. Let's read. It came une. Understand that word? Une. That means Liberia was not even, they don't even come Liberia. You are nothing but like a bubble, spetos. When you put a something, you know, they take the children they can play with, and then they blow it at them, then the bubble go. That's how they see Liberia, like a bubble. When you blow that bubble, it go in the air, it bursts, it disappears. Can you pick up that bubble again? That bubble, can you pick up that bubble? Can you pick up that water? Do you see where that bubble flash? Can you touch anything and feed it? No. The moment you do that, it bring the air, it bursts, it turn dry. That's how they see Liberia. It came only after rigorous internal reviews and import. Now you understand why import it. I don't want to go too much because we're taking long. Import. What was discussed in there? Import. Who said what? Who said what? Import. From where? Homeland Security. From where? Homeland Security. Consular Affairs. And foreign policy desks. And foreign policy desks. Now listen to this. That the United States has seen fit to grant. The United States has seen fit to grant. The United States has seen fit to grant this expansion. To grant this expansion. There was nothing diplomatic. So you Liberians that are rejoicing because your foreign minister is rejoicing this, that, your foreign minister, there was nothing discussed. Listen, despite Liberia were documented challenges. Listen to this. Despite Liberia were documented challenges with visa overstayed, with visa overstayed, with visa overstayed, and document fraud, and document fraud, God, and document fraud should be viewed not as reward, should be viewed not as reward, should be viewed not as reward. Listen to how they describe your nation. They are trying to tell you, don't be happy, don't rejoice, don't dance, because you got 3 years. They try to tell you, you have 1 year. You have 1 year. Oh God. You have 1 year. Right? Within that 1 year, or that 1 year visa policy or restriction, whatsoever they gave you, there have been challenges on the part of the US. Why? With Liberian overstaying, and with Liberian being documented as fraudulent. So they are saying, don't be happy. Don't see this as a reward. It is not a reward. Despite Liberia were documented challenges with visa overstay and document fraud should be viewed not as a reward. So bear in mind, the 3 years they gave. Do you know the restriction that they have put there for you Negro and slave-like man there? Let me take this out. I'm not going to take long here. Some of you now, you have this article in Liberia who are watching or who will watch the recording. I believe some of you have it in your closet because you think that's a good thing. You have it in your closet. Now go and sell your land, all right? Go and sell your land and then go to the embassy for visa. Go and sell your property. Go to the embassy for visa. Go. Go and sell your land. Go to the embassy for visa now. Because you have this article on your pillow, right? Don't go and sit. Take your time. Read this thing. Break it down with clarity. Allow someone to sit down on their media in Liberia who are being bought to put a bunch of illness or poison in you, that this is a good thing for you. Let me take this out. A hint or a wise is quite sufficient. Let me bring my 2 articles. Let me bring my 2 articles out. Okay? Let me bring my 2 articles out. Oh, do I have it here? Hold on, folks. Let me see here. Okay. Let's go ahead. Now, all right. Now, I told you folks from the first article we read, right? Now, you saw it that there was no agreement where the Liberian government sat down and they came from Liberia to say, you know what? We're going to the US. We are going for this. I think this will be in the interest for Liberia, right? And they came with their policy or whatsoever they came with from Liberia. That was not the case. Look at this here. U.S. extend visa privilege or privileges. So, first of all, when you read this headline, you know there was nothing diplomatic here. U.S. extend visa privileges for Liberia after, listen to this, U.S. extend visa privileges for Liberia after agreement to accept, listen to this, after agreement to accept Maryland man Abrego, Abrego. Listen to this. This was the United States policy, the United States interest to get rid of Abrego, to get rid of Abrego. So, they gave this man to the Liberian government after so many nations, including nations in Africa, have turned down the U.S., and then they went to Liberia, the Liberian government, and then they gave the Liberian government that if you accept our notorious criminal, alleged notorious criminals, to go to Liberia, to stay in Liberia. And listen to this, folks. They gave Liberia criteria. They gave Liberia on how this man should be treated in Liberia. And then they told Liberia, if you agree, we will give you 3-year visa entry. We will give you 3 years visa entry. Now, let me go back again to the headline. The U.S. extend visa privileges. Now, what is privilege? Privilege is different from right. Privilege and right are not the same. Education is a right. Education is a right, not a privilege. So privilege and right are not the same. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Education is a right. I'm just giving you an example. Education is a right because we're going to break down this privilege in the first place. So I want you to understand. Education is a right, not a privilege. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. So then, U.S. extend visa privilege for Liberia after agreement. After Liberia agreed to hold the United States notorious criminals, Abrego. Now, what is privilege? Privilege is a principle, a standard, a principle, or a standard by which, I'm thinking about different presentation that I gave, and I'm giving that example or that definition. Sorry. A privilege is a right, right? A right. Advantage. Privilege. A right, advantage, or immunity. A right or advantage or immunity. Granted or giving odd, available. Only. Listen to the word. O-N-L-Y. Only. Now, you remember from the beginning of this discussion, I told you, don't be happy for this B1, B2 visa. The question you want to ask is, why was this visa given from 1 year to 3 years? Imagine, they did not even say from 1 year to 1 year, 6 months, or from 1 year to 2 years, but it went straight. They double it. They went straight to 3 years. There is something somewhere that they are not telling you. Okay? Privilege is a right or advantage or immunity granted or given or available only to a particular person or group. Only to a particular person or group. Privilege cannot be given to everyone. Education is not a privilege. Healthcare is not a privilege. But B1, B2 visa is a privilege given only to a particular person or group. Now the question becomes, who are those groups in Liberia? Who are those people in Liberia? That's the question you should be asking. And those people in Liberia are government officials. That is why you saw your own minister. Folks, when you read these things, try to define some words. Try to look for some words. The privilege, the group or person or people are the government official, ministers, cabinet member, officials, and their children. You imagine the first article we read. What the United States, or how they call it, Department of Justice on their desk, what did they say? What did they accuse Liberia for? Fraud, right? They accuse you of fraud. Documented fraud. They accuse you of overstay. So now you understand in the first place. They know that. So now you understand this privilege is given to a person or people or group of people. Who are these group of people? I just named them. Government official, their children, cabinet member, their children, legislature, body, their children, minister, their children, and few group of elite or rich in society, their children. Because what you don't understand is the B1 and the B2 vaccine is for tourists. Why you don't understand the B1 and the B2 vaccine are for tourists and business people. Most of you are business people in Liberia? No. Most of you are tourists in Liberia. You can't even travel to your country, the very countries in Liberia. You don't have funds. You don't have fundings. You don't have money to travel to various countries in Liberia. Are the US coming? Okay, let's continue. So the US extend visa privilege to government official, to minister, to cabinet member, to the legislature body, and their children. Those are the people the US extend visa privilege to. Privilege is a right, an advantage, or immunity granted or given or available to a particular person or group. Do some research. Now, let's continue here. Okay? So now, that 3 years was given to you because the Liberian government accepted an agreement from the US that Liberia should host or should carry the alleged United States criminal, notorious criminal, to go to Liberia, to be hosted by Liberian government in Liberia. And they gave criteria to Liberia government on how this man should live in Liberia. So you Liberians that are rejoicing and happy, this man going to have a place that he's going to live, that the Liberian government will be responsible for him. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, God. This man will have car that he will have his own driver to drive into where he want to go. This man will live in air cool, AC. This man will have someone cooking for him, that the Liberian government will be responsible. These are the criteria the United States government gave to your president. The only thing this man will not do to leave Liberia to go outside Liberia. But this man will live in Liberia under the protection, the supervision of the Liberian government, of your taxpayer money. And this man will have car. This man will have his own driver. This man will have his own cooker. This man will eat anytime he want to eat. This man will bath anytime he want to bath. This man will go to all the club in Liberia he want to go to. Not money from his pocket, but from the Liberian taxpayer money. The Liberian government will be responsible for him in everything. This man gets sick, the Liberian government will be responsible to take him to JFK. And if JFK charge 50,000, 100,000, the Liberian government will be responsible. Man, you don't understand all the criteria laid down that the United States government has given to Liberia. Or you think the United States government was just going to send this man in Liberia and then dash it there and leave him there? No. You Liberia will pay for it. You rejoicing, you don't even know what is in the package. It's a package that you don't understand what is in that package. This man come and live a life that most of you Liberian, you will never ever have the opportunity to live that life until you die and be buried and go 6 feet. This man coming to live a life that even most of you Liberian, your children will never ever have the opportunity to live that life until your children die and go 6 feet in your own country. Stupidity. Now let's read here. Liberia and the United States have taken significant steps to enhance bilateral relations, highlighted by the extension of U.S. visa validated for Liberian citizens and a humanitarian, look at this, and a humanitarian agreement to accept a high-profile migrant. To accept a high-profile migrant. Now, let's go to the humanitarian part. You remember today I told you, there's B1, B2 vaccine that have been extended in relation to accepting alleged United States notorious criminals. Go back to 1822. Man, you don't know your history. They changed that same language from free slave. They changed the same language from free slave. Today, they say humanitarian. But if you understand and you know your history, they changed the language from rebellious slave to free slave. You don't understand, you don't know your history. You don't know your history. They changed the language from rebellious slave to free slave. And today, they changed it from a notorious United States criminal to humanitarian. They changed it from creating a land, right? Creating a land to bring back the free slave. Today, they call it having a land that the United States can send her notorious criminal, but to say it's based on humanitarian. Oh, but you can refer to Liberians who live in Liberia, who does not have criminal record. But because they are running away from circumstances and came to the U.S., they don't want to go back. You say they are fraud. You document it as fraudulent activities. You document it as criminal. But this man who you know that he is a U.S. notorious criminals, you send him to Liberia, you say he's an humanitarian. He's going on an humanitarian agreement. So folks, this humanitarian agreement that this man is coming on, he's coming to live as a humanitarian. He's coming to live as a humanitarian. You will not touch him. You will not do nothing to him. He will have a place to live. Not in ghetto community. That's not the place he's going to live. And he's not going to build his own house. The government of Liberia going to find him house. The government of Liberia going to find him car. The government of Liberia going to find him driver. The government of Liberia going to find him cocoa that will be cooking for him. Is this an agreement? Let's read, folks. Let's read here. These people think everybody's stupid. Everybody's stupid. Let's read here. Listen to this. Liberia will accept Abrego on humanitarian ground. Listen to this. First of all, the United States is trying to protect this man. So the United States have laid down everything under which this man is going to Liberia. This man is not going to Liberia as a criminal. But in the U.S., this man is seen as a criminal. But going to Liberia, this man is not seen as a criminal. Okay. The United States, Liberia will accept Abrego on humanitarian ground with specific assurance. Listen to this. With specific assurance for his protection from harm. Liberia will accept Abrego on humanitarian ground with specific assurance for his protection from harm. Discussion in Washington, D.C. were instrumental. Discussion in Washington, D.C. were instrumental in restoring Liberia pre-Civil War visa privileges and improving migrant framework. So you see this. In Liberia, you guys are rejoicing, jumping up, happy, dancing. Your so-called foreign minister, slave-minded. I know she's a slave. I don't think so. Maybe she's a slave. Nobody know. Maybe. I don't know. Dancing on something. Let's read here. Now you understand, right? That's why, like I said, I brought a first article. Because that you read it in Liberia. Maybe you did not understand it. Listen. The United States has extended visa validity for Liberian citizens from 12 months to 36 months and reach a humanitarian agreement. Reach a humanitarian. Folks, how can this be a humanitarian agreement when you are sending a notorious to Liberia? Sending a notorious, a criminal to Liberia. A humanitarian agreement for Liberia to accept a high-profile migrant. For Liberia to accept a high-profile migrant. This man is a high-profile migrant. This man is an alleged criminal. This man is a drug trafficker in the U.S. But the United States wants us to accept this man on an humanitarian basis. Let's read. Let's read. So, folks, this is not how you strengthen a bilateral relationship between a nation. Now, Liberian, is this how you're going to better Liberia? Is this how you're going to better Liberia? Is this what you call bilateral agreement? Is this what you call humanitarian agreement? Is this what you call a diplomatic relationship between the U.S. and Liberia? Is this how you strengthen it? Is this how you carry on diplomatic relationship? The visa reform followed discussion with Washington, D.C. between Liberia Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sarah Nyanti, and U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio sat down there. Marco Rubio, I know Rubio or rubbish, sat down there and just told the Liberian foreign minister. Listen to this. They told the Liberian foreign minister, listen, if you agree, we're going to increase your visa from 1 year to 3 years. But listen to this. Liberia will have to accept our notorious criminal on a humanitarian ground with specific assurance that his protection, with specific assurance of his protection from harm. Yo! And listen to your so-called foreign minister, Sarah Nyanti. Minister Nyanti highlighted the work of Liberia Presidential Task Force on U.S. immigration issue. So instead of them fighting the immigration issue in Liberia, but they are concerned about the United States immigration issue that they want to fight to help fight U.S. immigration issue. Oh my God. Oh my God. Should I be daydreaming? Listen to this. Minister Nyanti highlighted the work of Liberia Presidential Task Force. Oh my God. Presidential Task Force on U.S. immigration issue, which has addressed a long-standing visa and migration challenges. Let's read. Let's read something here. There is something I want to show you here. There is something I want to show you here. There is something I want to show you here. So let me see. Let me tell you this. When just, oh God, Liberian, when the United States was deporting, let me carry this picture here first. When the United States was deporting Liberian back to Liberia, they did deport them based on humanitarian. Did the United States tell the Liberian government that these people, when they come, they are coming on a humanitarian basis, and we want you to assure, to get assurance that their life will be protected and not in harm, that you will put them in places, you will care for them? Did they do that? Why this is so different? Why this is different? Let's read. Humanitarian agreement on migrant acceptance. This latest development have evaluated. Oh God. This latest development has evaluated Liberia international profile. Bullshit. This latest development has evaluated Liberia international profile by accepting United States criminal in Liberia. This later development have evaluated Liberia international profile. Who cares? Who cares about United States recognizing Liberia? So stupidity. Who cares whether the US recognize it or not? On stupidity. Let me read. This latest development have evaluated Liberia international profile, although it is not the first African country to benefit from such arrangement with Trump administration. Let's read something here. The West African nation of Liberia has agreed to accept. The West African nation Liberia has agreed to accept Abrego, a migrant whose deportation to Ecuador earlier this year drew widespread international attention. So you so-called Negro and stupid Liberian, dancing and rejoicing, oh, America gave us 3 years visa or extension, blah, 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 blah. This is the reason. And let me tell you, if you think you come and travel to the US, you damn lie. You effing damn lie. Because the United States, first of all, they already warned you from the first article we read. Liberia is known for fraudulent activities when it comes to the visa issue. I didn't say it. The same people that gave you this 3 years, they told you Liberia is known for fraudulent visa issue and overstay. 1 year. Right? You think the people have already strengthened their immigration policy already, waiting for you. You guys will cry again to that embassy. Oh, the US denied visa. Oh, the US. Why shouldn't the US deny you visa? Why shouldn't the US deny you visa? You think I come and sit down here and say, oh, the US denied Liberian visa, this and no. That's the people policy. Because the people are working on their policy to improve their nation, to better their nation, to safeguard the life of their citizens, to safeguard their jobs, to safeguard the little resources they have. Why do you think they are cracking down on food stamp? Do you know how many billion or thousands or millions go into food stamp and they're trying to crack it down to stop it? Because the people are reviewing policies. The people are going back to the drawing board based on economic hardship, based on 2025, 2026, 2027 global economic hardship, based on nations that are turning their back away from the US, based on resources that the United States was taking for free. They are not taking it again. For example, they start taking it free anyway. Your rubber, they are taking it free. They start taking it free anyway. You are on your own in Liberia, they are taking it free. But unlike other nations that the United States was not taking free, things are getting difficult. So they have to go back to the drawing board and cut down some issue or some expense that this is not necessary. We can use this in this sector. So November 1st, food stamps stop. So there are a lot of benefits that stop. That money will be taken and put into different sectors. So the people go back to the drawing board. So you think I will come and sit down here and get angry and say, oh, why the US not allowing Liberian in fact they're working on no. The people say America first. So why can't you put Liberia first? Why can't you put Africa first? Why can't you go to a rubber plantation instead of be taking it free, sending it to the US? Why can't you provide factory? Why can't you stop it? Like how other nations are doing it too. And today, Most Africans want to go to those nations to work. Oh no, why you want to go there? It is because those nations, their leader have said enough is enough. And now your citizens want to go to those nations to find job to work. Why should you go there? Do the same damn thing those nations are doing. Instead of you sending a robber overseas to the US to provide millions of jobs, do the same thing in Liberia. Do the same damn freaking thing in Liberia. Provide factory there and provide job for your people. Instead of you taking your iron ore to England. Do you know the value of iron ore, the company there? Trillions of dollars. That's why they work there. But they get them from Liberia. Boom! Open factory. Make the rubber state Make the iron ore state like the way all African nations are doing it. Do not do it private. These private entities will come in to suck and loot your nation and get the resources. And the Turkish company, the Big Mountain. After you are cause some noise, what they do, they can build one school to close your mouth. After you have caused some noise, what they do, they can pour some kind of community road. Those roads are community roads. Come to their countries. You see roads. The road they were put in Liberia are community roads to go on their farm. Yes, that community road to go on their farm. That's the road they'll come and give you as a connectivity road from state to state. I mean, from country to country, and then going to all nations, all countries like Guinea, Sierra Leone, Abrego, and things. But those are farm roads that they put down here. After you have caused some noise, they take some of the profit that they have taken from you, and then come and build one hospital there. Now you see that as an achievement. Oh yeah, the B. Martin Jasper Hospital, the Jasper School. Bullshit. Bullshit. You think bullshit? Do you know how many mineral resources they are taking from that place? Listen to this. Listen to this, folks. Let me read this again, and then I will go down and read something. The West African nation of Liberia has agreed to accept Abrego, a migrant who deportation to Ecuador, Ecuador, right? Earlier this year, drew widespread international attention. Let's read. Under the term, listen to this. There was term given to Liberia. You so-called stupid Liberians sitting out there rejoicing over this. There's nonsense deal. Under the term of the agreement, these are the criteria the United States gave to your government, your president. You are coming to take care of this man. You are coming to take care, the Liberian people, taxpayer money will take care of this man. Listen to this. These are the criteria the United States gave. Honor the term of the agreement. Abrego will be received on a strictly humanitarian temporary basis. On a strictly humanitarian. And you know what humanitarian organization or NGO have been doing? For example, Richard, the guy, what his last name? Well, I think his first name Richard or something. The guy who tried to kill his own lover, the Liberian guy that he was loving to, that he got pregnant. That Richard guy who tried to kill this guy, Justina or Taylor, no, not Justina Taylor. What her name? Lord, right? Lord, yeah, I think Lord, Justina Lord, something. Richard who tried to kill this guy in Liberia. Richard tried to slaughter the girl. In fact, he dressed the girl, took the girl in a bush, tried to kill this girl. It was another good Liberian Samaritan that saw them. And then they caught Rachel, got caught and put in jail. The same Buckeye government freed this man and allow him go. The same Buckeye government tried to bribe the girl with 10,000 United States dollars. The same girl they wanted the Rachel tried to kill. He caught this girl through until it went deep. She was so lucky to the extent the bystander came there. At that time, the nerve have not yet reached her esophagus. It was going to be a different story. But he caught the girl deep on his house, deep, and went in. The same Buckeye government tried to bribe this girl with $10,000 to forgo the case. The girl said, no, I need justice. My country is supposed to protect me. My country is supposed to save me, not foreigner. They told her, say, you can't accept the $10,000, then we have nothing to do. They freed this guy. They said there was no substantial evidence. After the survivor leave, bystander came and saw this man cutting this girl throat. They still said there was no evidence. After medical record proved that this guy drugged this girl to terminate the pregnancy, medical record proved that she was drugs. And this girl admitted that she was drugs. This girl admitted that Rachel gave her drugs to take. They still said, the government said, no evidence. Today, their own Liberian citizens did not get justice. But they freed this Rachel guy, this white American guy. They freed him. He came to his family. And he was there as a missionary, though. He was there as a missionary. They freed him. He came to America. He lived in America with his children and with his wife. Eating burger. Why just not tell her in Liberia living today without calf on her? She will live with it to tell the rest of her story. So, this is the criteria the United States gave to Liberia. So this guy, this Abrego guy, can do anything in Liberia, will never be held responsible. Listen to this. Under the term of the agreement, Abrego will be received on a strictly humanitarian and temporary basis, with assurance the Liberian government have been warned already. Dear God. With assurance that he will not be transferred to another country. I just told you, we did a research already. So I'm just bringing it up because I didn't want to come and say, then you'll be like, where's the evidence? Where is this? Where is that? Because Liberian people, they don't believe in their own people, African as a whole. The white man will come and speak without, the European will come and speak without no evidence, without no sources. They will never ask. Because why? It go back to religion. Because anything the white man or the European say, because they are next to God. So anything they say is divine. Anything they say is authorized. No question. But when their own African black brother or sister come and say something, they will say, where's the evidence? Where's the source? To the extent you even provide sources or evidence to them, they will say, look at this stupid one here. You crazy, you stupid. They will insult you. That's African for you. But listen to this. With assurance that he will not be transferred to any country where he may be forced or where he may face substantial risks of prosecution, torture, or other serious harm. You see that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So the life you yourself are not living in Liberia, this is the life this man come to live. And then you rejoice on stupidity. While this man is living this life, the Liberian government official will travel anytime they want to travel. In fact, their children will travel anytime they want to travel. You will never travel. You will never travel. This is for them. It's not for you. That's why they were dancing. Because Sarah Yeti, her children come and travel. Her relative will travel anytime they want to travel. In fact, you know what they said 3 years for? Now, their children will have the opportunity to travel to come to the US, to go to school 3 years. Yes, 2 years you can get a master's degree here. Yes. Then 3 years, 2 years you can get a master's degree. Then you're talking about 3 years? Oh, shit. Now there are children coming to have the opportunity to travel to the US for schools. You will never ever travel. Their relatives now coming to travel because this is a time, oh man, corruption, you come and see corruption. All these government officials, ministers, cabinet members, their relatives, not just their children, their relatives are about to travel to the US 3 years to stay and go to school with Liberian taxpayer money, with their taxpayer money, with the Liberian resources. Their children are about to travel to the US to go to school. Their relatives, their friends, their loved ones to go to schools. And then, after schools, they will bring these same people back to come and take their position to serve in government. We are going back to 1847, where these same people rule the country. Their children rule the country for 140 years, to the extent civil war have to come in the country. The two presidents from the political elite side that tried to bring changes, they all got assassinated with the involvement directly or indirectly with the CIA. The first man that did it, he was never part of the free slave. And we keep telling y'all, those who are rebellious slaves, they refer to them. This is history, folks, no hard feeling. But we have to teach the truth here. One of the first men, E.J. Raw, was not American Liberian. Yes, he came from the US, but he did not see himself as American Liberian. He did not identify himself as American Liberian. He did not identify himself as so-called free slave. Because the people they took there, they were not free slaves. They called them rebellious slave. And that's the same rebellious slave today that is going to Liberia. E.J. Raw migrated to Liberia by himself. By himself. The people that went to Liberia by themselves, they tried to do better. The CIA killed them. The CIA killed them. E.J. Raw was the first person that went to Liberia in 1846. He did not recognize himself as American Liberian or political elite. 1871, he became president. I want to run with it. That's why I went to 1871. But there was thing he did from when he entered Liberia. The moment he entered Liberia, he was not on their side. He was never on their side. 1871, he became president. He was never ever going to go with Joseph Jimmy Rabo, the former United States ambassador to Liberia in McCarthy. Come and sit down. If Joseph Jimmy Rabo were alive. No, when we're talking about competent people, we're talking about E.J. Raw, that you never gave him a chance, you kill him. The man who never cared for Liberia, stupid so-called Joseph Jimmy Rabo, the slave. That the man you come and tell, hey, Joseph Jimmy Rabo of Allah. We already know when a white man is present anywhere of black Africans. Our leader, that leader is not fit. When Europe, the Western world press any African leader, you should question our African leader. You two don't know our history. You kill E.J. Raw because he never wanted to listen to you. You kill him. Because E.J. Raw was never taken by the American Liberian, by the ACS through Washington, D.C. E.J. Raw went to Liberia by himself. And when he became president, 1871, you United States government kill him along with your slave called the American Liberian. You kill him. because of the plan he had for Liberia. The plan he had for the native men. The next man that tried to do it, but he was scared. Arthur Barkley. Arthur Barkley was never taken to Liberia by the so-called ACS and the United States government. Arthur Barkley went to Liberia by himself from Barbados. 1904. The native men were never citizens since 1847. 1904, Arthur Barkley saw it. He said, this is inhumane. Why would we do this to our own people? We were treated in the Western world by these same damn people here. Then we come here, then we treat our people. True, Washington, D.C. This was inhumane. Arthur Barkley decided, 1904, to recognize the native men. But he was scared before he got killed. But he did recognize them. He never went deep. He said, we got to get the people's citizenship. So through all, we were stateless. We were never citizens. We were never counted. That's why they call our names. And after today, they still call our names. Arthur Barkley wanted to change that, but he got scared. That's how Arthur Barkley lived. But if you're going to continue it like Egypt, we're going to kill him. The CIA are going to kill him again, along with the American Liberian, these slaves. Fast forward, Thomas King, who were one of their own, born in Liberia there. One of their own, born in Liberia there, educated by them. But this man decided to change and said, no, I'm a parent man. I'm a native man. These are our people. Slowly, gradually, he started involving the people. Slowly, gradually, he said, higher, total involvement. Total involvement by the Liberian people. What happened? The CIA, along with the American Liberian, they kill him again. These slaves, they kill him. Folks, this is deeper, the relationship between Liberia and the US. There is nothing between the two countries as diplomats. It's paternalistic relationship, a paternalistic relationship that is between them. Let's read here. Read something here. Let's look at something here. Okay? Let's look at something here. Let's look at something here. People are jumping up, rejoicing, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Look here. Look here. Even though I don't support this, right? I don't support this, but look here. Look here. Look here. Look here. The agreement allows Eswatini to accept up to 160 deportees. The agreement allowed Eswatini to accept up to 160 deportees in exchange of 5.1 million United States dollars, which is equivalent to 3.79 million Europe from the United States to strengthen its border and migration management capacity. Now, let's discuss this. Let's discuss this. So, you so-called Liberians that are dancing, that is happy. It could even be that the United States gave money to Liberian government. But do you know about that? Do you know about that? Because, listen to this. Listen to this. Eswatini accepted 160 deportees. And I believe these were not high-profile criminals. In that, Eswatini received 5.1 million United States dollars, which is 3.79 million euro. Right? They received that. Could it be that Liberia government also received millions of dollars from the US? Because this man they're talking about here, he's a high-profile man. High-profile man. Criminal. Notorious. So how many million, apart from the visa, how many million Liberia received from this sneaking corrupt deal that you don't even know about, that the same Liberian government going to put in their pocket and run with it. You don't even know. Now listen to this. You're running all around here. Oh, Liberia is a stepchild to America. Listen to this. Ghana, U.S. visa restrictions were lifted, granting citizens 5 years. Granting Ghanaian citizens 5 years multiple entrant visa and other enhanced consular privileges and other privileges. You would have said you are directly related to the U.S. You would have said you took your country and gave it to the U.S. and said, hey, United States, we are stepchild to you. For example, they gave you 3 years. You that were colonized and controlled by the U.S., they gave you 3 years. The nation that was never colonized by the U.S. gave them 5 years. That's the same damn thing the U.S. leave Liberia, went to Ghana, developed Ghana. Go see the overhead bridges, George Bush Bay in Ghana. Go see it. Go Ghana and see the overhead bridges upon bridges, rows upon rows. The United States government built in Ghana. But they left you there because you are stupid, because you are dumb, because you accept to be slave, because you gave your nation to the U.S. as a stepchild. So they will treat you as a stepchild because you are a slave, because you are dumb and stupid. Let's put another one here. Let me put the last article out. Let's put the last article. The last article is coming from the White House, Capitol Hill. The last article is coming from Capitol Hill. The last article is coming from Capitol Hill. Let's see that. Let's look at that. Now, look at this. Okay? Look at this. George presses the Department of Justice on bail for speeding. Abrego Garcia deportation to Liberia. This is from Capitol Hill. George presses Department of Justice on bail for speeding Abrego Garcia deportation to Liberia. Let's continue. Let's continue here. Let's continue. Don't do this. Don't do this. Go back. Don't run. This is from Capitol Hill, folks. Let's read it here. Now, a federal judge in Maryland on Monday pressed the Trump administration on a bid to quickly deport Abrego Garcia to Liberia, seeking the government worried that the once mistakenly deported man will not be removed from the country before she lit an order blocking such a move. Let's read further down. There's something I want to show you here. United States District Judge Paula Eni called a hearing on Monday after Department of Justice DOJ lawyer signaled a court filing last week that Abrego Garcia, a native of El Salvador, could be deported to the West African nation as soon as Friday. He's still here though. Okay? We're going to see here. I think his last hearing coming out November 4th or the 5th. We're going to see that. Let's see something. If I didn't leave the injection, then obviously you are abiding by it, and he is not going to be removed. Ignis said to the government, am I getting that right? Let's move further down. Let's move further down. Let's move further down. Now, the Trump administration has explored a series of countries. Listen to this, folks. So you see, this was not an agreement that to say the Liberian government and the U.S. Southern. No, listen to this. Paternalistic. Because we have a bunch of stupid fools ruling the country as government. We have a bunch of stupid, corrupt entities leading the country as government. Listen to this. The Trump administration has explored a series of countries as possible deportation destination, with Liberia as the latest suggestion. With Liberia as the latest suggestion. Now, let's go back to 1822. You see, 1822, we're going to come here, folks. 1822, what happened? 1804, 1803, 1802, when Oliver Toussaint fought the French and defeated the French. Fast forward, right? I'll run it. Fast forward, 1804, Haiti get independent. The rest is a story. We can go there another time. 1804, fast forward, Haiti get independent. Now, 1804, 1805, 1806, 1807, in between there, Richmond, Virginia, the enslaved Africans, they mobilized themselves because Haiti gave them the courage and said, if Haiti, a nation small like that, can do it, on a small army with Oliver Toussaint, and they fought the French, who have modern weapons. Now, let me back forward. This is one reason, right? The white men, the Westerners, have made you to hate your own culture, and you hate your culture. Now, they fought the French army, and they defeated the French with modern weapons and sophisticated weapons. The Haitians did not just fight with primitive weapons. The Haitians fought with their gall. It was also spiritual. But that is for another story another time. It was also spiritual. Look, the West know that if Africans go back to their spiritual belief, they can never. You think what happened in the Sahel region? You think it's just modern weapon that they are fighting with? No. They also went spiritual, to their spiritual belief, to their spiritual God, to fortify themselves. Look, the white man, the West, one of their fear of the black man is for the black man to leave white Jesus and go back to black Jesus. That's their fear. But let's go fast forward. That was one of the reasons. Okay, Oliver Toussaint, Haiti, they defeated the French, and it was through the instrument of an African queen, a goddess. But that is another story. Let's leave that. Let's go back. Fast forward. The people, the enslaved African in Richmond, Virginia, mobilized themselves to go and kill and assassinate James Maroon, because James Maroon was a rapist. The man to whom the capital city for Monrovia or Liberia is named after, James Maroon, he was a rapist. So you took a rapist and you named a rapist after your capital city. That's why that cloud is over Liberia every time. James Maroon was a rapist that raped most African women. James Maroon had a slave farm. You know what? I showed that video before here, right? But that was in North Carolina as well, right? But that video was the same as James Maroon. James Maroon had sex slaves. He had African women as sex slaves that he will have sex with them, get them pregnant, they get birth, and then sell the baby. Like on a farm, like you have your pig, your cow, your sheep, your goat on a farm and thing. You know, that's how James Maroon have African slaves. That's how he make his own the money. Now, These Africans in Richmond, Virginia, grew themselves, got angry, right? They said, we are going to overthrow James Maroon and take Richmond, Virginia, and then our mobilization for freedom, for redemption will start from here. Fast forward, they did it. They got caught. They did not succeed. Thomas Jefferson was the federal government at that time. I'm giving history because I told you this current issue with Abrego, it go back to 1822, even though you know your history. So I'm giving it, right? So listen to me. So these guys got caught. Thomas Jefferson at that time was the federal government. James Maroon called Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson went and met James Maroon in Virginia, right? And then James Maroon told Thomas Jefferson they should slaughter all the slaves. All the people that are on the coup, they should slaughter all of them. But at that time, 1807, England have abolished slave trade in Great Britain. Now, they did it not because they loved the African. They did it not because, oh, they fare as human. No, they were never human. Up to now, they are not still human. Okay? They have not apologized. They have not paid reparations. So they are not human. Let's continue. Anything we say, we have fact, we have information. We say it unapologetically. Now, Thomas Jefferson told James Maroon, if we kill them, in the long run, it will hunt up because that's mass murderer. What we can do is we can slaughter the leaders, and then the followers, we find place to send them. Now, now you see how I'm connecting it to Liberia, right? Now you see why they say Abrego going to Liberia, he's not going as criminal. He's going as a free man. He's going as a humanitarian. We are getting places. History is very good. So now, the followers of the people they call free slave, they call them rebellious slave, folks. It's a research. Do your research, you will see it. Don't go do some kind of Google thing or the thing a white man can put in documentary and give it to you, then you go, you take it. No. What I'm telling you is something that is in the White House. They got it there. It's a document in the White House. They have it there. They have these things in there. But there are things that you don't dig deeper, you will not find it. They decided no. Okay? So they sat down. Washington, D.C. sat down for 36 months. Just how they sat down in the 1884 Berlin Conference for years, for 6 months plus, to divide Africa. It was the same thing they did with the people they took to Liberia. They called them rebellion slaves. So they sat down in Washington, D.C. ACS was not there. So you sit down, ACS can't colonize a nation. ACS can't colonize this. You stupid. You know your history. ACS just came from the sky and fall down and say, I'm going to Liberia. ACS just came from the sky and fall down and say, I'm going to find a place to carry free slave. ACS was not the same or American government. ACS was not the same or slaveholder. Are you stupid? Now, let's continue here. So after they decided, they say, we can't take these people to hate. No, we can't take them to South America. South America, they are already rising. Barbados, rising already. Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. No, we can't take these people then there. They say Brazil. No, we can't take them to Brazil. These are history. The informations are there. Okay? I even have it saved on my computer here. No, we can't take them to Brazil because Brazil, you know, that slave area too. And Brazil still part of South America. They can come here to North America. They can come at any time. And then they say, well, we can't take them to the Philippines. At that time, the Philippines was still under America. Was a colony under the U.S. U.S. said, no, that's our colony. We can't take these people there. When we take them there, they will go and join these people. They will recruit and they will come back. In fact, they will fight for independence and we will lose our colony. What then happened? The land we call Liberia today was the final play. But that time was not Liberia. The reason why they took it in Congress, go to your research force. They are there. They are there. In Congress, ACS was not in the picture though, right? These are all American government, official. So they said, listen, these people are not useful in the American economy. That's how today Abrego is not useful in the American economy. They said these rebellious slaves are not useful in the American economy. We can use them in Africa. They can be useful there. Because guess what? England is already in Africa. At that time, England did not go to Africa in 1884 Berlin Conference. No, they were already there. Only the U.S. was not there at that time. In the 1820s, in the 1800s, the U.S. was not like specifically in Africa at that time yet. But because at that time Africa was not divided, there was no Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Africa. No, it was not there. It was open, borderless. Okay? Now, that Nigeria-US border came there. It came 1884 Berlin Conference. That's the time that thing came. So what it did here was, France was already in Africa. Today, Africa. It was not Africa at that time. Today, Guinea. It was not Guinea at that time. Okay? Today, Mali. It was not Mali. It was not Niger. It was not Burkina Faso at that time. But France have taken all those places. France have mapped all those places. Now, at that time, England was already in Ghana. It was not Ghana at that time. Nigeria, it was not Nigeria at that time. You name it. They were all over in those places. Okay? And then Portugal was already in Cape Verde, all those places. But they were not Cape Verde at that time. So, even Sierra Leone was not Sierra Leone at that time. Okay? But Great Britain was already in those places. The US was not there. So the US said, you know what? We can use, because what happened, you see, Barbados was under the British, right? But Barbados, the British have taken some of the enslaved African to Sierra Leone, today Sierra Leone, to protect the colony, to protect the territory. So the United States government at that time in Congress, they said we can use the rebellious slave and have our own territory too. In Africa, that's how that whole migration came about. They were not free slaves, they called them rebellious slave. Do your research, they had it in Washington, D.C., they're in the White House, they got it there, rebellious slave, it's there. But the rapists will not come and tell you, say, they will not take fault of raping your mother, your child, your daughter, your sister. They will not take responsibility for it. They will come and write a boy and say, you know what? It was your mother that invited me. It was your mother that told me to do it. It was your sister that told me to do it, all of those things. We were having fun with our drinking and thing. And then, you know, they will come up with their story. So that's how that whole migration business came about, to take the rebellious slave to Africa, today Liberia. So when they decide that we can't take them to the Philippines, we can't take them to Brazil, we can't take them to North America, these are all history, they are there. They will not tell you. It's there, we have read it, we know it. And that is why we can tell in Washington, D.C., they can't debate with us. Anytime we read it, any of their government official, you think they don't know who they're playing with? They have interacted with me. They are interacted with some of us. They know. We work with them. They know it. And I will tell you this, some of them will be very, very scared and afraid the day some of us take power in Africa, in Liberia there. That I can assure you. They know who they're dealing with. They know who they're dealing with, know how they store it. And I will tell you, America ain't like educated person who know the truth and stand for the truth. They don't like you, they will never work with you. They work with you who don't know the truth because they will manipulate you. You see it? So the whole migration came about to take the people. And then when that happened at that time, they were also entrepreneur. Why entrepreneur, slaveholder? They are slave or giving them tough. They went to Washington, D.C. and said, listen, I got 2 slaves, I got 3 slaves, I got 4 slaves. They are giving me tough time. So I want to jump, I want to break there and be part of y'all, and be part of the migration. So that these people can live from here. Their plan was not to take free slaves to Liberia to put them there and say, y'all go home, y'all, no. Their plan was to use these people to have a colony just as just as Britain, England, Portugal, or how they call it, France, Germany, all these places. United States too wanted her part because Africa was not divided at that time. Fast forward, they got to Sierra Leone. When they got to Sierra Leone, the British government, the Queen said, no, y'all can stay here. Y'all got to go follow down. Imagine there was no border at that time. Y'all got to move and go follow down. That's how they left. They went to Shelby Island. That is another story, but let's get back. So I'm just giving you a story of this Abrego guy. Okay? So these are the people that left. And when they left, when they went to Liberia, before they left, they told them, you are not going to be reintegrated into society with these people. Because they have plans. And they told them, if you want to change, you will not go. And if you change, we will bring you back. Imagine you are still our slave. Go and do your research. These are the things that are written there. I'm not telling you they say they are there. They told them they want them seriously. They were warned seriously not to be reintegrated, not to go meet these chiefs. And they told them, you will be ruler of the land. You think these people wanted to come by when they know how slavery were treating them? And then they're already on the land where they are king, they are president, they are there manning the land for the colony, I mean, for the colonial institution. That's how Liberia was established. When they went there, they killed the native people, they killed the kings and the queen. You don't even know that your kings and queen were slaughtered by the CIA, by the American government. Your kings and queen were slaughtered. Robert Stockton, do you know how many people Robert Stockton killed? Robert Stockton was a retired Navy officer. Washington, D.C. sent him to go kill your kings and queen. Do you know that story? Let's continue here. So it's the same thing they are doing today. The Trump administration has explored a series of countries as a possible deportation destination, which Liberia has the latest suggestion. The court filing last week said the West African nation has agreed. You see this? To like a B1, B2 visa, it was not an agreement where the Liberia decided, you know what, Liberia government decided this will be good for all of our nation, for our people, blah, 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 blah. That's bullshit. It was the United States that brought this on the table. You read it from the first article that we read. It was only from the Department of Justice. It was only from the desk of the Department of Justice. It was only from the consular office. Only. It was not an agreement between the U.S. and the Liberian government. The court ruling last week said the West African nation has agreed to take him, who, Abrego, and argue that the country first Abrego Garcia criteria. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. You see how the United States government insulted Liberia? You Liberia, I'm going to take my time and read it so you can see the insult. Washington, D.C. insulted you. Washington, D.C. cursed you. Washington, D.C. In fact, I don't know the word to describe. Let me read it to you again one more. The court ruling, I'm going to take my time. You were insulted as a nation by Washington, D.C., by the American government. You were insulted because you see yourself as slave. Listen to this. The court ruling last week said the West African nation has agreed to take him, Abrego, and argue. The court, listen to this, the court, this was not an agreement, diplomatic agreement, no. Listen to this. The court, oh God, shit. The court filing last week said the West African nation has agreed to take him, Abrego, and the court argued that the country Liberia fit FITS with S, FRT with S. Let me continue thing, right? And see how I went back to the past? You see how I went back to the past, right? I brought history all right. Listen to this. You know why the court argued? Because the court went back to Liberia history. How Liberia was founded, how they took the rebellion slave, how the local Liberia to be. Listen to this. I'm going to read this again. The court ruling last week said the West African nation, Liberia, has agreed, the government to take him, Abrego Garcia, and argue. The court argue, the court argue, the court argue that the country, Liberia, the country, Liberia, the country, the government, the country, the government, the country, fit, FRT, fit, FRT, fit, FRTS, fits, Abrego Garcia criteria. So, Liberia fit Abrego Garcia criteria. Now, what is criteria? I'm going to break this down first in the first place. Why should the American government think that we Liberians, we are for nothing? We are nothing. We are criminal. First of all, you listen to the first article that we read. The American government said Liberia full of fraudulent activities. Didn't you know that? And they said in West Africa, or let's say in Africa, Liberia is among the 10 countries of denial of visa denial. 10. 54 head of state, 54 nations. 54 nations. And we are among the first 10 of highest visa denial. Because American government say we are fraud, we are criminal, we're full of fraudulent activities. Listen to this. We saw that in the first article. We're not saying anything here with emotion, anything here with no. Okay? So see how the government of the United States describes Liberia. We fit our nation. You see the insult? And you're saying that they're dancing, happy, dancing, this, that. When America finish insulting you, Washington DC finish insulting you, cause you, left, right, degrade you, dehumanize you. They say you fit the criteria to Abrego Garcia. Criteria, a principle, or a standard by which something may or could be judged or decided. A principle or a standard by which something made or can be judged. The court filing last week said the West African nation has agreed to take him and argue that the country fit Abrego Garcia criteria. The country fit Abrego Garcia criteria. So, allow me, this man, right? He's a notorious drugs, and he smuggled drugs in the country. So Liberia is a nation of drugs. Liberia is a nation of criminals. Liberia is a nation of fraudulent activities, like we read in the first article. So Liberia fit the criteria of Garcia. Ooh. Okay. Folks, that is it. So this is why Liberian. You know what? Hold on. Let me bring something here. Oh, I didn't take it out. Let me bring something here. Hold on. Let me bring something here. I can't leave this out. I must place this before we leave. I can't talk about Nigeria today because of time. But let me play the last video here, okay? Let me play the last video we go. Let me bring something. Okay. Let me play something here before we leave. So the video I'm about to play, right? That's the president for Liberia, Joseph Imam Boakai. And that's Sarah Yanti, the foreign affairs minister or something. That's her right there. Okay. I believe there should be the president office, maybe, I don't know, or the president home, I don't know. But I want to show you something. From what we have read, right? I already told you it's not diplomatic, and you saw the evidence, everything. I don't have to, but you saw everything we have read here. Look at the Liberian government. Look at them rejoicing here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank God. At this time,
Wow.
when they're telling everybody that.
When they're putting people money. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we that live in white man land, we that live in white man land, that's the president and that's the foreign minister. Do you? And that's not his wife. It is not his wife. But do you see the foreign minister kissing the president on a job, dancing, showing her booty in front of the president on the job? The president looking at her backside on the job. She's shaking her booty in front of the president on the job. Kissing the president on the job. Showing her booty and dancing in front of the president on the job. Playing love, being romantic on the job. The president telling her, can't shake my hand, baby. On the job. The president. On the job. Happy for a visa to accept and U.S. notorious criminals that we read here already. And then in the video, the president is saying that was so soon. It was soon because he agreed to accept a notorious U.S. criminals in Liberia. And they gave you criteria how this man should live, how you should take care of him, that your citizens themselves cannot even live in Liberia. And he made a statement, oh wow, this came so fast. In fact, they are denying people. No, the U.S. is not denying no damn nation. The U.S. gave Ghana 5 years. Do you see Ghanaian rejoicing? Because it's meaningless. Do you see Ghanaian television, news media reporting? It's meaningless. They gave Ghana 5 years visa entry. It's meaningless to the Ghanaians because that is not going to build a Ghanaian economy. That is not going to get Ghanaian jobs because it is government officials and their children who will travel. The Ghanaian does not have no damn time for 5-year visa to come and visit tourists to come. No, they don't have time for that. The Ghanaian don't have time to spend their money to come and go see Minnesota Mall, to go see or what? The Whitehall? No. But see, folks, this is the Liberian government, the Liberian president. You see, he's saying that right here. Foreign Affairs Minister Sarah Yanti dancing, shaking her booty in front of the president, and the president looking at her booty, and then she kissing the president on the job. While the president's wife is there, the president have his wife, but on the job she kissing this man here, shaking her booty in front of the president. Playing romantic love. Look at them shaking hands. Come and hold me, baby. Shake my hand, baby. And Mr. President, you just lied to the Liberian people. They never deny anybody. Eswatini got it. The country, United States government talked to over 10 countries, African countries. In fact, they gave Ghana 5 years. Do you see Ghanaian rejoicing? Did you see the Ghanaian president rejoicing? Did you see the Ghanaian foreign minister rejoicing? It means nothing. It means nothing because the Ghanaian, they don't see themselves as slave to Washington, D.C. The Ghanaian care less. And you hear dancing. You say you got a great relationship with the US, they only get you till they get Ghana far. They get Ghana far, yeah. You see Ghanaian rejoicing? It means nothing, is meaningless. It's not going to do nothing for the Ghanaian. And you say you are a stepchild to the US, they get you 3. You stupid. What kind of leadership is that? But you Liberian people, you brought this to yourself. You take somebody who is in his 90 and make him president. Someone who is suffering from dementia and make him president. Someone who is suffering from schizophrenia, you make him president. Someone who they have to change his diaper, his pampers, his pull-up, you make him president. Someone who is suffering from membrane issues already, you make him president. Someone who is suffering from stroke, his left side, he has stroke on his left side, you make him president. You look for this and you got it. You have a government that is not functioning. Everybody just doing their own thing. You have a government that is not functioning. Everybody doing their own thing. So the president did not even know about this. And no Liberian citizen in the US have to call the foreign minister, not even the United States embassy, not even the Liberian embassy, no. Not even Marco Rubio, no. And no Liberian man called the foreign minister and told him about this shady deal. It was not even the United States embassy in Liberia that called the president. Shit. Liberia, we are in a mess. We are in a mess. These people have no connection. They have no experience. They will do something just to show to the Liberian people that we are doing something. But before these people leave power, your resources will be sold out. Liberia will be sold out. And these people will take the money, put it into banks, and leave the country with their family and sit down overseas. You have empty nations. All you Liberia will be bought by foreigners. Anyway. Oh my God. You have foreign minister. Foreign minister is not dancing. Foreign minister is not rejoicing for the benefit of a citizen. Foreign minister is not rejoicing that, 4 million or 5 million Liberians have jobs. No, foreign minister is rejoicing on visa, that she can travel, her children can travel, her family can travel, but not the ordinary Liberian. Foreign minister is rejoicing on visa. Is this what they do in the office? Don't be surprised. These people be having romantic love in the office here. These people be making love in the office. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. These people be making love in the office. Yes, it could be. If she can be kissing the president, if she can be rocking her booty in front of the president, shaking her booty in front of the president, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. If she can be shaking her booty in front of the president, don't be surprised that these people make love in the office. If she can be kissing the president while it is being recorded, oh my God, don't be surprised these people make love in the office. If she can be shaking her backside in front of the president, and the president is smiling, oh yes, can shake my head, baby. Oh yes, baby. Can shake my head. Oh, baby, shake your booty. Let me play this thing, man. No. Let me play this thing. Let me play this thing again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank God. At this time,
Wow.
and they're telling everybody that.
When they're putting people money. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Oh my God, my goodness. This is the executive office. This is the executive office. The last position of the land of the state. And you have the foreign minister and the president making love. And people there recording. You have the president and the foreign minister making love in the office, at the job, on the job, and the people recorded it and post it. The foreign minister shaking her booty in front of the president. The foreign minister kissing the president in the office. And they're holding hands, shaking hands, making love in the office. I'm gone. I rest my case. Folks, that's what I have to give you today. That's what I have to have. That's what I have to give you. Thank you for tuning in. Share, subscribe. We want to see that number going up. We want to see the subscription going up, folks. We want to see the interaction going on. We want to see comments. Whether their presentation was good, whether it was biased, whether it was fruitful or it is fruitful for Liberian. Put your comment in there after the live. Put your comments. Let's see. That's Liberia. Peace.
The white power structure, because that's all we have in America. And the white power structure today is